Welcome back into the Sports Source, the segment of our program brought to you by Madisonville Marine. June is the right time to buy a boat at Madisonville Marine, folks. Rebates of up to $2,500 on G3 bass boats and Suncatcher pontoons just through June 30th, so you got to do it this month. Rebates up to $2,500 on Skeeter bass boats, but only through June 17th. So you got 2 weeks to make that one happen, or about a week and a half, actually, 8 days. It's a big summer sale on all in-stock new boats, biggest selection around, Madisonville Marine. All right, back with Mark Pankratz, Jimmy Himes, David Ubben, Mike Strange. Mark, you went over to the big board, and we had the Tennessee roster, if we can get a shot of that. Had the Tennessee roster up, and I had you pick out your starting five for opening night, as you see it, plus your sixth man. Tell me how you went with Turner, James, Bowden, Fulkerson, Plopsich, and then Pons off the bench. Why those guys?
Well, gosh, it's so hard. There's so many unknowns. Does Euros, I'll call it, or UP, let's just call him.
Yeah.
Does he get eligible? I think he will, but in workouts he's been really good. I think Lamonte and Bowden are your only other surefire ones. And then what do? Do you go big? In Fulkerson, because he's been there, I went to lean with him, but DJ Burns is a guy that could get in there. And then with Josiah James, being a five-star guy, some of that is somewhat hopeful of what he can be. But then is it Pons? Is it Jalen Johnson? Does Barnes go big and slide a bigger guy in there? So I think there's a lot of unknowns, but that's what I felt the most comfortable with, what I would see day one.
Mike, you've seen the roster at this point. We started this early right after the basketball season. Yeah. Now you filled in some of the blanks, and there have been some more blanks open up. What do you know about this year's team? If you thought you could put a finger on something.
Bowden and Turner. That's two proven guys. Fulkerson is, I feel like I know about him, and I wonder if he's a starter. I think he's got to take his game up and be a little more productive and consistent to be a starter. And but there's just so many unknowns. The most I can think of in a long time with the Tennessee basketball team.
Guys, thoughts on what you know? Aside from this team's going to have to lean heavily on guard play, we assume.
Yeah, that's it. To me, it's the inside play. It's what you
don't know.
You know they have to build from that position. That's the thing that is going to be a big concern. Where's the rebounding coming from? Where's the scoring coming from? Where's the defense coming from? That is going to be the biggest problem for this team inside. I do like the two guards returning a lot, and also, of course, I like Josiah James a lot. I saw him on YouTube. He's great. That's all I need to know. No, I think he's a tremendous player, and I think now 5 stars, when they come into college basketball, very, very few of them are flops. I think this guy's going to be a tremendous player. I think the guard play will be very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is people talk about finding your identity, and what that really means is just what do you do at an elite level, and what are your weaknesses, and how can you put yourself in position to accentuate those strengths and hide those weaknesses. And I think when you talk about those things, that's what Tennessee's going to have to do for the first 2, 3, maybe the entire season is what is your identity? Find that, and this is how you're going to play, and that's going to be difficult, I think.
I was going to ask you something quick.
I think their identity, where they're standing right now, is going to have to be defense, because where does your scoring come from? And then you look at, we talked about a little bit in preparation for the NCAA tournament shows, length is a big deal now. And you look at one thing that you do know is that if Plopsich gets eligible, that's 7'1", Fulkerson 6'9", DJ Burns, Jalen Johnson. I mean, all these guys, even their guards, are long guards, and so that bodes well if they play with that effort to be a good defensive team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Don't you think this year's team, if Barnes has his druthers, resembles more of the team from 2 years ago, which was defensive oriented, as opposed to the one that we just saw, which was more offensive oriented? So you answered that without me asking it, but by repeating that, I let people know that I know what I'm talking about too. All right, when we come back, I don't know anything about recruiting, and I proudly admit that. That's why Ryan Callahan is going to join us to explain to you how Tennessee has climbed a little bit in the recent recruiting rankings. Come on back on the Sports Source.